So yesterday, this is the headline in the papers today. Ruto, it's my turn. That's the Nation. Ruto, my promise. That's the Standard. Deputy President William Ruto accepts to be UDA's presidential flag bearer in the August 9th polls and outlines his agenda for the country, promising to right the wrongs of the Jubilee administration. The endorsement sets the stage for a duel with Azimio's Raila Odinga. He made several pledges and promises. As this was going on yesterday, some conversation then started as well and various social media platforms. And this is on whether the deputy president is now still a member of Jubilee. Number one, we know he is no longer deputy party leader of Jubilee because Jubilee delegates met 2 weeks ago and they have new officials. Party leader is Uhuru. They have how many new deputy party leaders? Is it 3 or 4? Yeah. And none of them has the name William Ruto.
Right.
So William Ruto is no longer deputy party leader. One of the other resolutions that was made by the delegates of the Jubilee party was that those people who are affiliating themselves and campaigning and openly affronting other political parties shall be deemed to be no longer members of Jubilee. So we could technically say that Jubilee evicted the people that it considers to be errant members. Among them, we can assume to be William Samoei Arap Ruto. So yesterday, Ruto attends a UDA meeting. Was he a UDA member?
Was it a UDA meeting or was it a UDA convention?
It was a UDA meeting, National Delegates meeting, right?
Convention.
Yes, conference.
Meeting.
Okay.
Seminar, workshop, conference. Okay.
But
So as he is attending it, he had applied to be considered for the presidential nomination. He went through the process of UDA considering him for the presidential nomination. He was presented yesterday as the sole candidate. And the delegates endorsed this and said, okay, so if it's okay, we support, let the man carry our flag. Is William Ruto a member of UDA or is he not? Or is he still a member of Jubilee until Jubilee comes and communicates to him directly and tells him, we kicked you out? And the Register of Political Parties is alerted of this, and Register of Political Parties removes him from the role of the Register of Members of Jubilee, and then applies to be a member of UDA, and Register of Political Parties is informed that he is now applied and is now a member of UDA. All those things, technically, have they happened?
No.
Or practically, is he a member of Jubilee? If he is a member of UDA and he was elected as deputy president on a Jubilee ticket, what should happen? So that's a question. Should he resign or does he stand to lose his seat automatically?
If what?
If he's no longer a member of the party that sponsored him to parliament. And if he loses the seat, he ceases being the deputy president. So what are we talking about?
And if indeed he does lose his position as the deputy president, what does that do to the presidency?
We have a vacancy in the office of the deputy president.
The question that I would ask is someone allowed to be a member of two political parties in this country?
At the same time?
At the same time?
No.
No.
So I think that answers the questions that you were asking earlier on.
Has he formally, and I think this is it, has he formally announced relinquishing his position from the Jubilee party?
Does he need to?
Has he opened his mouth to say that he has left?
Does he need to?
He has clearly said that he's a member of UDA.
Yes.
It has been understood from those who are on the other side saying, okay, we've removed this gentleman because he has not been a part of us and he has openly said he's a member of another party. However, the thing is, he was elected as a pair with the president on a Jubilee ticket.
Yes.
To serve then as deputy president of the country.
Yes.
Now, if you are no longer in that position, then it seems pretty obvious to me. Then you should not be holding the position upon which you were elected. The honorable thing to do, in my opinion, would be to say, I know, it's rich. But the honorable thing to do, and I know in order to do something honorable, you must have some honor. I get it. But to do would be to say, okay, This is no longer serving my purposes. I want to do something else. I have been very vocal about this. I even have support in this other thing that I want to do. Leave this position. This place upon which I was elected with the president no longer works for me. Leave it. Vacate it. Because it seems as though you have one leg here and another leg here. You're not moving, or you're not moving forward or going back. But it is clear the direction that you're going in for the rest of the country. If you are no longer, or if this position is no longer serving you and your ambitions, personal and political, vacate.
So I guess that's where the whole conversation, it boils down to that. The other technicalities of whether Jubilee has actually actioned what was decided by the members of the delegates conference to evict some members, and whether those members included William Ruto. You know, they could have said all those things, but right there on paper, when they come to action, William Ruto is not among them. They could be evicting everybody else, but they, for some reason, they consider, well, William Ruto has not really done all those things that we're saying. Technically, we don't know what is happening, whether Jubilee has actioned what the delegate said, whether William Ruto has written to resign as a member of Jubilee, whether William Ruto has then applied to be a member of UDA officially, and whether his name has been forwarded to the Register of Political Parties as a member of UDA. All those things. We're making assumptions. But I think the whole conversation boils down to what you said. It is the honorable thing to do, the ethical thing to do, the moral thing to do. Honor, ethics, integrity. Should a leader do the honorable thing to do the honorable thing and say, you know what, I'm no longer seeing eye to eye with the party that sponsored me to parliament, and I'm therefore resigning from this party, and let everything else happen thereafter. If it's a by-election that is to be called, fine. If I resign from the party, I have lost the position. The speaker declares position vacant, or the IEBC chairperson, in the case of this of the president, declares the position vacant. Then we go into a by-election, or whatever happens thereafter. Then this should have happened a long time ago, because William Ruto has been a member of UDA
For at least a year.
for more than a year.
Yeah.
Even if not officially a member of UDA. Not only that, we have very many other leaders who've been elected. Derito Muriithi, the independent, is now proclaiming he is in PNU. Yes? The Speaker of the National Assembly, well, he was elected as Speaker,
Yeah.
but he's in DP. Other members, the Governor of Makueni, Kivuta Kibwana, right now he is a Wiper member, was elected on a Wiper ticket, but he went back to his Muungano party. He's been telling us that. Should they all have resigned? Is that the honorable thing to do? Should we get to a point where we actually exercise what we call leadership, integrity, and all those things, and require of our leaders, do the honorable thing? Disagree with your party, leave the party, let the dominoes fall.
I suspect that in the spirit of good political practice, the leaders would tell you they're being honorable. Yes.
Right.
Meaning, yes, I know I got elected on this particular political party. Yes, it is true I don't get along with the person that I've been working with. That is why I have my own political party. But you see, it is a political party that I'm affiliated with, but they'll tell you I don't have a membership number. But now, in the case of the DP, it is clear. You cannot be the presidential aspirant for a particular party if you're not a member of that party. That is not possible. As for the honorable thing, I think we're setting new standards for what we consider honorable. Because for us, honorable is what is accepted or what is acceptable and what we think will fly. I don't hear of the citizenry complaining about this. One or two lone voices among our cyber warriors, but by and large, people are quite silent on this.
Well, just because they're silent doesn't mean that people are satisfied or accepting of it.
They are accepting. That's what I'm saying. They are accepting. Because I'll tell you why I'm saying they're accepting of it. If the deputy president stays in Jubilee or KANU or the party is called URP,
UDA.
So I'm asking the simple question. So what does that actually change? What does it change? Nothing.
These are just technicalities.
Yes, and secondly,
People did not elect him because of Jubilee. They elected him because he's Ruto.
Because he's William. Yes. Remember that if you look at our politics and you look at it keenly, what you're seeing playing out is getting the heart of the matter of actually not just our politics, but who we are. These are things we accept. This duplicity you're seeing, it was once upon a time good practice only in politics and among politicians. We have embraced it as a citizenry and as a voting public. We also accept it.
I
So
hear
are
you
we
when you're
rewriting
saying
the definition of then?
We rewrote it a long time
Ethics,
ago.
honor.
sure, but
we
then
rewrote it a long time ago.
And this, I'm going to keep saying that even if we have said, look, we are seeing things that are duplicitous in nature, and that it has been a thing that people have then been able to abide with and abide by, it doesn't make it right. Even if it is something that you hear on a daily basis, we see it happening, we accept that there's duplicity, it doesn't make it right. That you should be able to make a decision on something. That you say, this is no longer serving me. That I want to be able to do something else. I want to be able to be the one that is then called the leader. Make a clean break. There are laws. There's a constitution. Make a clean break. You can't continue doing this thing where people are not really sure where you are. And just because they're silent about it, assumptions on the acceptance of it does not make it right. There are laws that ought to be upheld. There are things that people live by in terms of requirements and standards, whether they're political or personal. But here you are saying that you want to eat your cake and have it. And I'm saying that you should not be able to do that. And because people are silent on the matter, it could be for many reasons. Maybe they're not aware that you can't do both at the same time. Maybe they're not really thinking about it because nobody's making more noise about it. But I do think that he ought to make the decision.
I'm telling you, they don't care either which way. And I'm telling you, to answer your question, we have written these moral laws.
The lack of care sometimes is not fueled by anything you have in your mind personally. It could be that there are many, many elements that influence this lack of care because nobody's speaking about it. Nobody's bringing it out into the fore and saying that, you know what, this thing that we are seeing playing out here is unlawful. This thing that we're seeing playing out here is not right because nobody's talking about it. So then you get to the point where you don't care about it. You become lackadaisical because nobody's mentioning it. That you should not be able to operate in this manner just because you are in a position of power. You've made a decision. You told the country, select us as 1, 2, 3. Somewhere along the line, you have seen very clearly that this does not serve you anymore. Make the break. And that's what I'm saying. Make the break. We can't just be here dancing about in shallow waters when this thing has more depth. What does it mean for the face of the country when you have people dilly-dallying, double dipping back and forth, and you can't make a clean break? Why? Make a clean break.
I'm trying to explain that what you're saying is what in an ideal world would actually make sense.
Aspire for the ideal.
Yes, that is what is desirable. But what we have accepted as the norm, this is really what I'm talking about, not what I think is good. I'm stating what we have accepted as the norm is what I'm stating. In our history, we've had people resigning. It's not that we haven't had it. No, we have. People, when we got into multi-party politics, people resigned from very plumb positions. People who are ministers, people resigned. They said, no, thank you. I'm resigning from this particular position. We've had people resigning from political parties because they've had differences. We were leaving. The one person who has done this more than anyone else I know is Raila Odinga. This party just leaves, says, no, I'm not seeing eye to eye with this, leaves, sets up another one. Doesn't need to, leaves. So, what am I saying? It's not as though people don't leave. I'm simply saying there are others who don't. A time may come when he may actually part. But people leave when there is something that they believe will serve their interest. In the same way, people stay because they believe that staying will also serve their interest.
You set a precedent or you set an example
to
the entire nation.
Yes, you do.
And it is fallacious.
Yes.
From the very beginning.
Yes.
To say that. Because look, I don't even think we should try and philosophize or romanticize this thing. At the end of the day, he's sticking in this position because they just both benefit to him.
Yes.
Yeah, So you're basically telling the whole of Kenya that, you know what? So long as there's something that's beneficial to you, you can have one leg here and one leg in the other place and say whatever it is that you like.
Precisely.
And then reserve the right to castigate the same government that you are a part of.
Yes.
Which, in my opinion, should not be.
Well, it is.
It should not be. And if you're quiet about it on a regular, it means that you're throwing things out the window. Rule of law doesn't really matter. Constitution.
Oh, but that went
toss
out
it
of the window a
as
long
well.
time ago. What we're seeing is just a very clear manifestation of it playing out in the political arena. What is it that isn't characteristic of our politician? If you're talking about duplicity, it's there for you to see. If you're talking about outright lying, it's there for you to see. If you're talking about backstabbing, it's there for you to see. So, what is playing out is at the heart of our politics. If one hadn't seen it, see it now.
So should we just roll over and accept it?
No.
By all means, no.
So what should we do?
First of all, look at it for what it is and say, this is who we are. Because we like to pretend we're not that, we're different. We're not different. We are exactly what we are seeing.
You see, this is not even new, just like you're saying, City. You will recall that in 2002, Uhuru Kenyatta vied on a KANU ticket to be the member of parliament for Gatundu.
Yes.
And also to be president.
Yes.
Lost the presidential, won the Gatundu seat.
Yes.
Was MP, was leader of official opposition.
Yes, he was.
2007, vied again the KANU as chairman of KANU, won the parliamentary seat. Right? In 2012, man left KANU, man went to TNA.
Yes.
So at that point, when he was moving, is it the point when we should have said, okay, but now you're no longer in KANU, and the KANU is the one that took you to parliament, so we are just months to an election?
Did we understand even these rules as we do now? And when I say it doesn't matter, we don't care. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Because anyway, even as we talk, between 2005 and 2007, right?
Yes.
Raila Odinga was by and large the leader of ODM,
Yes.
but he was in parliament
Yes.
under LDP.
Yes.
So should he have quit at that point? Once we formed ODM, so let's say 2006,
They will
Raila
tell
should
you,
have
they will
quit
tell you,
as member of parliament because now he is not in LDP, he's in ODM.
they will tell you when they first started ODM, was it was a movement. Look, I'm trying to explain that the things you're saying do also get to the heart of the matter. And that's the position we ought to be in. And is the position we ought to seek after. But to be able to move on, there's a need to understand where we are. That's where I'm sticking. I'm not moving from there. I'm
Exactly,
saying,
CT. There's a need to understand where you are. So rather than saying, this is who we are, and staying there and saying, this is who Kenyans are, and they're going to continue staying in that position, but to be able to open your mouth and say that this thing that we see is not right. This behavior that we see being peddled to Kenyans as all right is not. That is one of the steps that takes you from where you are to where you ought to be, rather than saying, oh, you know, this is who we are and, you know, it's not surprising. No, it should be that there must be a constant element of chagrin when you see things going wrong. If you lose that, then you will never be able to get to where you ought to be. You must be able to say, this is not right, folks.
you know,
This way in which we're operating doesn't work.
do you really think that people actually want that change?
Yes, I do.
Then why aren't they changing? Why aren't they making moves to bring about the change?
Because of this
it's all being
complacent
added in
nature
law.
where we are saying that, you know, that's how we are, so let's just take it.
No,
and
no,
go.
no.
So
No,
if
no,
people
no.
want it, then why are they saying that's how they are?
Exactly.
Do
right
the people really want change?
You think people are happy if things were to work in a different manner, whereby, we've talked about it just now, whereby you enter into competition and you lose and somebody takes it and walks away, right? When things begin to change and you see a different way of doing things, you will find that people become satisfied with it because they say, this is the way in which we ought to be operating.
That's how we operate anyway.
But then you say, this is the way we operate, so nothing can be done about it, nothing can change. And they have the people at the very top who are also mirroring that same behavior. Where do you think the change
Something
is
is
going to come from?
I think the problem, and I agree with you, Ndu, and even CT, the problem is actually not even with these political leaders. It is not with William Ruto, with Raila Odinga. It's not with them. The problem is with the collective called Kenyans. Because we are okay. We have changed the law. We'll take a break. When we come out of the break, I will read you the new law on political parties. The one that was assented to by the president just the other day. Okay? What it talks about party members, when you are deemed to have left the party, when the party can expel you, and it's very clear in black and white. If you start campaigning for the formation of another party, you are deemed to have left this party. If you start talking openly about another party, you are deemed to have left the party, and the party is at liberty to expel you. All those things are in law. I will read you the letter of that law. So we have it in law, but we don't practice what we've written in law. We just move on out. Our ask this morning is, we're using William Ruto because he's the most visible and is currently the one in the headlines, but it refers to very many other politicians in parliament, as our governors, as our MCAs, everywhere. Should William Ruto resign now that he is no longer in Jubilee, on whose ticket he was elected as deputy president in 2017? 8:30, we are live on KTN Home, SpiceFM and online. We'll be back shortly. Seeing a message here from Peter Patrick Nation at Urban Shave Barbershop. They're streaming the show online, and it's showing there. The conversation we're having is, should William Ruto resign now as he is no longer in Jubilee, on whose ticket he was elected as deputy president in 2017. We're using William Ruto here, but it applies to very many other people. Governor Mwangi wa Iria of Murang'a County was elected on a Jubilee ticket. For the last, I don't know how many months, man has had billboards all over the country saying that he wants to be president under a new party called Usawa Party. The governor of Nakuru, Lee Kenyan, has a new party called Ubuntu Party. All of them. Even the party that sponsored the governor of Meru to parliament is not the same one that he's using this time. The governor of Makueni is back to his muungano. He's forming coalitions with others. So is this... I said I'm going to read you what the law says. Are you ready? This is the new political parties amended Act of 2022. A person who, while being a member of a political party, shall be deemed to have resigned from that party if that person forms another political party, or joins in the formation of another political party, or joins another political party, or in any way or manner publicly advocates for the formation of another political party, or promotes the ideology, interest, or policies of another political party. A party shall, before deeming a member to have resigned under that law, notify that member, afford the member a fair opportunity to be heard. At a political party which deems a member to have resigned from the political party shall notify the registrar in writing of the member's resignation and request the registrar to remove that person's name from the register of members of that political party. Upon notification, the registrar may, where the registrar is satisfied that the political party has complied with the procedure, remove the member's name from the register of members of the political party within 7 days and notify the member in writing. Where the registrar is not satisfied, they shall reject. It is clear. In the case of all these people that we're talking about, who were members of Jubilee and other parties, who were in Kasarani yesterday, or those who were in KICC on Saturday, talking about other political parties, they are in one way or another publicly advocating formation of another party or promoting ideology, interest, or policies of another political party. Law says that person shall be deemed to have resigned from that party.
So what are we talking about here?
This person is a member of Jubilee, okay? His name is Moses Kuria, okay? He comes here and is completely openly and directly advocating for another party called Chama cha Kazi. That person is deemed to have left Jubilee. So should Moses Kuria have resigned?
But they've said it is deemed that you have left already. So it is deemed that you have resigned. So then why must you come and do it again? We just assume that has already been done. This is what the law says. That if you have engaged in this activity, it has been assumed by law that you have left this other party. Now, if we are going to go on the things and the position which this previous party granted you, right?
Yes.
Because it then also will be assumed that because of this party, then you attained the position which you currently hold.
Yes.
If you have vacated the party, vacate the position. Because as far as I still know, 1 + 1 is still 2.
This party nominated and sponsored you to parliament, and you're no longer a member of this party.
It is the vehicle through which the country elected you.
Okay.
You have left. Get off the vehicle.
Which is why, again, I bring in the technicalities and do. Because you remember in that law, we've said, deemed, but it does not end there. The party that you belong to must then notify you that they deem you to have left the party. And they give you an opportunity to explain yourself. And then notify the registrar. And then the registrar shall look and see, have you followed the procedure? Have you notified the person? Have they explained themselves?
So the onus is not on you to resign.
Both of you bear responsibility here. And I think I will hold both people to account. That you as the individual have certain things that you must do. The vehicle upon which also was granting you this position also has a responsibility to fulfill, and they must do the same thing as well. Because the double dipping is being allowed by the vehicle. It is being perpetuated by the individual. So for me, there's no science here. It's very simple. Tell this person that what they're doing is not allowed by law and also by practice of this vehicle. Very clear. Why are we debating it? It's because of the deputy president.
We have a problem, Ndu. We have a problem. You see, even that, the way that law has just been put in all those things. Our problem is with all of us as a people, collectively. Because the main thing should have been that, starting from that point of honor and integrity. From that point of integrity, I know I said I belong to this party. I applied to be a member of this party. This party gave me a nomination ticket. I took it to IEBC. I won the election on this particular political party. Integrity demands that if I start then championing all those things that have been defined by law, championing formation of a new party or completely openly campaigning for another political party, it is deemed that I shall have resigned. Technicals come in. But integrity demands that then at that point, integrity, let me just notify the party before they even start coming to tell me, oh, please come and explain yourself. Notify the party. Everything about you got into a union. You were declared man and wife by whichever religious person, by whichever traditional person, or by whichever legal person in the AG's office. Okay? Then you start behaving like you're not in this union.
There's
the honorable thing for you to do is go and say, you know what? I am no longer in this. I am no longer in this, and so let's formalize my exit from this.
Forgive me, but I have to take. I want us to travel back in time a little bit. You see, if you wonder why it is I'm sticking to the point of who we are, I can't help but see the complete detachment that the political class seem to have with the reality of what is actually happening in this country. When you have a country where the center stage of everything else is the politicization of whatever it is we want to achieve politically, and it is supported by rhetoric about the things you are going to do now, it is devoid of the reality that some of the people are talking about what they want to do have already been in positions where they could have done the very same things they're saying they want to do. If you look at the back and forth and the talk and the distancing from decisions that certain individuals were part and parcel of, and now speaking as though this thing happened when they were away, and when they came back they found it happened and that someone else did it. There's a complete detachment, politically speaking, to the point where it appears the leaders have come to accept that they'll tell us anything and we'll believe and accept anything. Now, with that sort of detachment, do you really think, in all honesty, that we have a leadership right now who will likely make decisions to improve the lives of the individuals in this country and that they will take those steps? No, I don't think so. They are very busy propagating this same narrative that they've been propagating. And where Eric is absolutely right is that somewhere along the line, in the same way that political parties and the way they function, you are deemed not to be a member of this political party if the activities that you are involved in seem contrary to blah, 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 blah. you are deemed to acquiesce and to accept the status quo if you keep quiet and all you seem to do is to attend huge rallies and to cheer along the very people who are telling you things which you know they ought to have done and could have done but didn't do, and I want to tell you they're going to do it in the future. So, as you say, we ought to. Surely, should we? Yes, we should.
Raise the conversation.
But do we?
It should be raised. The conversation should be that, because this thing of keeping quiet and making it seem as though it's all right is also a problem. It's here, and you say
it is a survival tactic.
it's a problem.
It's a survival tactic.
It's an issue. It's a problem that folks are going to be quiet about something, even though they may have an issue with it. They'll be quiet about it. It's a problem.
It is.
It's a problem because you see something going wrong and you keep quiet about it until it is too late. That you see something going wrong because you don't want to ruffle feathers, or that you don't want to be the one standing out to point out an issue, or you want to be acceptable in whatever quarters. You see something going wrong, it's wrong, man. It doesn't matter whether you say it very early in the morning or very late at night. It's wrong, it's wrong. You have a law here which dictates how you ought to operate. You go against the law, but people don't, again, want to ruffle feathers, so we keep quiet about it. And we know very clearly, we can see. It's obvious. He doesn't want to resign because obviously there are very many perks that he is getting and enjoying by remaining in the position of deputy president. What are we talking about?
And what is it
I
that
don't
the-
want to call
what
it
is it
as
that the
it is.
supporters of all these members go for? Why are they quiet?
When there's a feast happening on the table and there's some crumbs that drop to the floor, do you think that those who are underneath gathering those crumbs are going to run away? They're going to stay in that position because there's also something that they will be
So
able
it's
to
a win-win
receive from
for
it.
everybody.
Do the term defensive mechanism, you know how and when it applies, don't you? Then you've heard me use the word survival, and I'm repeating it, survival. Kenyans are very good at engaging survival mode. If it means keeping quiet, they will keep quiet. But the quietness, as you correctly put it, doesn't mean they're not doing something. What they're doing is trying to find ways of surviving. This engagement with a politician, in their mind, they've deemed it as futile. It's not going to get them anywhere. So they figure, forget that nonsense. Let me try and figure out a way. And you know what they're going to do? They are going to look for every which way to survive. When I say every which way, I mean every which way to survive. Recently, we had a huge debate here of matatu drivers, border riders along Wangari Maathai Road who accosted a lady who had hit one of them. Remember that case? I raised the issue of the voice that we kept hearing. Please, don't beat her. That large crowd, there were not more than 4 people who were actually involved in going near that car, touching that lady, trying to get her out, tearing her. There were not many. The question I raised, and I'm raising it now, these others who probably didn't support it, why did they stand back and watch? Because they stood back and watched. Those who seemed not to support it were more than the people who were actually perpetrating it. So they could have stopped it. Why didn't they? Why didn't they? That unruly nature of the border that we speak of. When I say it was symptomatic of the way we conduct ourselves, not long after that clip appeared, another clip appeared of a lorry, and I'm repeating this again, that had goods. Some say it was goods that were meant for people who needed it. They were relief food. Did the people who saw it care? No. What did they do? They went for those things.
Yep.
Is it not the case we've had over and over again, even when you hear a petroleum tanker overturns? And then a disaster, is in the making, and usually it occurs. Why? Because people look at that disaster not as a disaster, but as an opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
Somebody has an accident, people come to help you. They are robbing you first. There are people going into your pocket, they're taking things from your car. These are Kenyans. Now,
It's about everybody and everything else and what they're thinking. Let's go to the phone line, 0719-012-600. Should William Ruto resign now that he is no longer in Jubilee, on whose ticket he was elected as deputy president? Eddie in Kiambu, good morning.
Hi, morning, Ambaka.
Yes.
Now, the biggest issue with we Kenyans is hypocrisy. So I am GM in your company A,
Yes.
and I want to apply for MD in company B. Now you feel aggrieved I'm not yet a MD in company B, but you're telling me to resign. Now,
because when you're going for an interview.
The law has just been read out to us.
Yeah.
It is upon Jubilee to kick Ruto out by going to the party's registrar. Yet they are always barking at him to leave. It's like me being in your house past 10 p.m. and you keep murmuring to each other in the kitchen, what time is this guy going to leave? Just come up to me and tell me it's time for us to sleep. He'll have to ask you to leave. So Jubilee Party is making noise for nothing. The cards are in their hands.
Okay.
They should just follow the law.
As somebody who has been a party leader and a deputy party leader and a deputy president, and you want to be the next president, should there be no fiber in you that tells you, let me do the right thing? And just save everybody this whole quagmire of back and forth. Jubilee summon me to come explain myself. Oh, Jubilee, take my name to the registrar and tell the registrar I'm no longer. Should I just save all this thing and say, you know what?
Thank you.
I'm gone.
You know, this guy was elected under Jubilee ticket for a 5-year term.
Yep.
And he's come out clearly and said, I'm not happy with what is happening here. So come the next term. Keyword, next term. I'll pursue with this ticket. Now, telling him to resign and that he shouldn't come in public and complain about things not being good in the Jubilee government is like you telling me, being unhappy in my marriage, I should not go and air my grievances to our parents or to the marriage counselor.
But he has already started.
The Kenyan electorate being the marriage counselor stroke parents in this situation.
But
now you're telling me if you're not happy in this marriage,
complaining is fine.
Yeah.
Complaining is fine, but if you start cohabiting,
for divorce, do not complain about it.
No.
Eddie, if
but
you start cohabiting with somebody else,
in somebody else's house already. This is not about in the next few months I will do this. We're talking about a situation whereby it is happening now.
It's already
He's
ongoing.
not waiting. It's ongoing.
Let's hear the other callers on the line. Peter in Roiro, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Very well. Should Ruto resign?
I think he should. Now that he's seeking the highest office in the land, probably it's time for him to have a change of tack. Historically, we have known Ruto to be either associated with some level of impunity. And we go back all the way to 1992. Now that he's trying to say that he's standing for the rights of the downtrodden, then probably it's high time that he shows that in action. We have an article under Article 150 of the Constitution, which of course provides on the process of removing a deputy president. And if we were to litigate that from a legal standpoint, then you have the challenge of process starting from the Political Parties Act. And what you alluded to earlier now becomes something that comes into play, where the process has to be activated by the registrar of political parties through a fair administrative action process. So unless Jubilee Party activates it, then it becomes now an ethical question. Does he have to wait for the law to act, or does he have to act ethically and do the right thing and resign? So at this point in time, then, because of all those examples you have shown with governors, MCAs, MPs, then the Jubilee Party may be saying, look, it's a few months to the election. Let's just ride it out, focus on the main, goal here of electing now the team leader, as they put it last weekend. And the law and the legal ramifications can take, the process after the August election is over.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Let's hear from Brian. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
You people are confusing two things between an MP and a deputy president. For MP, they are bound to lose their seats. For deputy president, on the removal of the deputy president on Article 150. Nowhere is saying when you leave a political party, you will lose your seat. Number one. Number two, you're also assuming the deputy president is still a member of Jubilee party, the party. There's no way he can be endorsed by UDA if he's still in Jubilee. Number three, in the old constitution, there's a problem with this constitution. For purpose of the next general election, in the old constitution, parliament used to be dissolved.
Yes.
To allow people, you cannot be in a party perpetually. But these people are not doing this for the purpose of this term. Since parliament will not be dissolved, it has its own calendar, there's no window. There's a lacuna in law at what point, for the purpose of the next election,
shall one hop from one party to the
shall
next?
one hop to another party? Because it has to be there. You cannot be locked in a party forever. Number three, those parties, they're supposed to be democratic. They're even by law, they're supposed to hold regular elections. We've seen parties surviving with interim officials forever. So already, those people who are supposed to discipline these ones are not legally in office to begin with.
Okay.
And the law is also clear.
So bottom line,
Yes.
in all this clarity of
Yes.
law that you have, and we
Yes.
could argue back and forth about removal of the deputy president and removal of MP, not in any of those
Yes.
cases that does it mention party, but in the political parties law, it says if a party nominated you, then you leave the office, then you also
So
leave
for
other.
MP it says, if you leave the party that sponsor, it's expressed in law. In the constitution also, not just at the political parties. That for MP is expressed. In the process of removing a person from an MP, those if it's undischarged bankrupt, convicted for more than 6 months, if he leaves a political party that sponsors, it's in the law. So for deputy president, leaving a political party
Is not one of the conditions.
Yes.
Okay. But one of the qualifications for being a deputy president is being electable as an MP. Anyway, Brian, let's continue that conversation later. Yegon in Nandi, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Eric, City, and Du.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Yes, yesterday City told us when he was explaining that guy who had Akipanda that Munyonge hana haki. Now, when it comes to these political parties, I've heard Brian saying what I wanted to say, that for the removal of the deputy president as per Constitution 2010, there is no whereby where it is indicated that when somebody moves from another party to another party. Now, there is still another confusion here, that UDA was formerly known as PDR and is still in Jubilee coalition. As we speak today, the Jubilee coalition is still live. The president has not yet broken any agreement between those who formed the Jubilee coalition or the other parties. And he has
The
now
National
joined
Delegates
another
Conference
coalition.
of Jubilee
Yes.
said that all pre-existing agreements were now null and void.
But did they sign? Have they deposited with the registrar of the party?
Now that's where the technicals come in, but they've said it.
Yes. Now then they are in a Simio, another coalition, and still in another coalition. So if it means the deputy president resigning, even the president should start by leading by an example.
And
Because the law says that you cannot belong to two coalitions.
So
Yes. So there's
so you advocate that he also should resign.
he should also resign.
So I'll ask you, if you would argue that the NDC of Jubilee has declared that previous coalition agreements have ceased and they shall enter into a new coalition with Azimio, if you say that they have not deposited the one of previous coalitions have ceased, do you know whether they've deposited the one for Azimio?
Now that's why I'm saying all these are just a noise from the guys like Namurate. They are just speaking and disturbing us, the Podas, the Wanyonge now. We are now suffering with a lot of thoughts, thinking about something.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. These are matters that just give you that headache. You're like, okay, so, and that's why we say there's a technical and there's the issue of integrity, which is just knowing the right thing and doing the right thing.
You see, the question is who isn't lying, who isn't backstabbing, who isn't being hypocritical.
Who determines what is right, what is not
Wrong.
right?
We have the Constitution, and even that one, those who know will tell you there's a lacuna here, there's a vagueness here, there's this here. You know, bottom line is people are hungry, they are suffering, poverty is increasing, and those who are in leadership who can change this seem to have completely lost touch with this reality.
Indeed.